The Marching Roundtable's coverage of Bands of America 2019 is brought to you by Fred J. Miller Incorporated, found at fjminc.com.
Hey everybody, this is Tim from the Marching Roundtable. I am at the rehearsal here in Orlando with Broken Arrow, and I'm here with Jordan Lalama, right? Did I get it right?
Nailed it.
Jordan, you are a visual guy?
Yep.
What's your role with the band?
Pretty much just train them visually, clean the field, do all that stuff.
So you're in charge of the cleaning of the drill and the movement and the choreo and all that?
Yes, from field level. Yep.
Okay, so I want you to tell me all your secrets, like how they move so well, where do you start? Are you doing movement and basics every day?
Yeah.
Is this part of the like? How are you getting them to move like that?
We touch it every day at some level. Not always 45 minutes. Sometimes just a quick, but
sure.
We really start in the beginning of the season with more of an athletic approach to everything. Getting them running in time, getting them doing different things with their body in time. For us, the timing thing is the most important key to everything. So if you're not doing it in time, no matter what it is, then it's probably not going to be that great.
So that's where you start?
That's where we start. That's like day one. Hey, let's start something where we can get moving in time. We can get it to music. We could feel the beat, and then just get starting moving in time. And then from there, we kind of build it up systematically from there. So that's always step one for us.
What about new marchers? This is a lot to accomplish fast.
Right.
How do you catch them up so quickly?
Same as kind of what I just said. I think for them, especially young marchers, it is a body awareness thing a lot. If you're not aware of your body and how it works, and obviously they're just getting into high school and sometimes a little unconfident, and things are changing and all that stuff. So that's our approach. We really get them to try to realize what their body's doing and start from there. So
okay, so you're doing the cowboy show, western show.
Right.
They're wearing cowboy hats. It's really fun. It's really cool. Called Yeehaw, right?
Yeehaw,
I love that.
Come on.
Such a ballsy name.
Right.
So the stylization of the movement, is that all come from Jim, or is that a Broken Arrow thing? Because it looks like Broken Arrow how they move.
Right.
So how do you get that unique style to it?
Well, Jim Moore is the choreographer, and obviously he's amazing. And
yeah,
he
Jim's
does
awesome.
does such a great job. And
but you're still teaching the kids to move. There's like a sharpness to it sometimes.
Yes. So I think it goes back to that fundamental approach. Like when we know what the show is, we will start with characterizations. Like this year, it's a lot of things very angular, flex feet, obviously tipping of the hat, all that stuff. So in basics, whatever they be, march for 8, go to a pose. Every lunge that we take now has a flex foot. So we individualize everything for the concept in the show that we're doing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So then by the time we get it into the drill and Jim's adding choreography and everything like that, we're automatically into it.
Okay. So you knew that was going to be sort of the style of the way the show looks.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, how do you keep the cowboy hats on their head and not blowing away?
I think they line them with some sort of foam. The performance hat, they
tip.
fit pretty
There's
well.
a tip.
There you
okay.
go. Yeah.
Because I know that they're taking them on an awful lot, and it's like if you got this great prop on your head, you might as well use it a lot. So you do.
Right. Yeah.
But it's windy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking so that's that's a trick.
Yep. Oh yeah, that for sure.
Okay.
And we have practice hats too. So we have a performance hat.
Another tip. Okay.
Yeah. Anything that you do in a show, you should practice with it all day long.
So you have a practice set and a show set.
Practice hat, and then we have a show hat as well.
Okay. All right. And you touch it every day. So it's just part of just like we do marching basics every day, we warm up every day, we do playing basics, you do movement, dance. What do you call it? What do you call it?
I mean, we just we just look at it at the show. There's so many layers and so many different levels. So I very much think that anytime you're doing any kind of fundamentals or whatever, you have to have all 3 levels in there. You have to have the technique, you have to have the performance energy, and you have to have the choreography. So, instead of just going 8s and 8s, you move for 8, you close for 8. For us, it would be like a move for 8, pull the hat out for 8, and then put it on for 8. Like no longer are we just closing, because very rarely do we close and not do something. it's always integrated into the concept. So we really make sure that we focus on it.
So you practice it all together.
Yep.
It's all one thing.
Yeah, it's all a 3-level thing, the way that we set it up. So
You mentioned that performance energy. That's another thing that I think is in the personality of Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
There is this energy that comes off the field, and it's got a special style to it. I told Darren that I thought he was very cool, and he said he'd never been called that before because the band has this sort of cool vibe to it.
Yeah.
So like, where does that come from?
Well, I think obviously it starts with Wes Cartwright's vision of what it is.
Makes sense.
And Wes Cartwright is cool.
Okay, all right.
And
so they're both cool.
Yeah.
Darren, you're still cool.
Yeah.
But we know that Wes
Everybody's
is cool too. Okay, everybody's cool.
But I think that character is just, it's inherently in every show that he makes for Broken Arrow, and then we get the buy-in from the students.
But there's something about the way the students are moving that you're teaching them.
Sure.
And how do you get that performance energy out of them? How do you talk to them about that?
Well, I think the one of the things is nobody ever goes into a show and does something that they didn't do in rehearsal. I always say, like, you pull a rep out of your backpack. Like, you're putting reps in your backpack and you're going to pull one out for a show. So one of our big things is always like, if you're rehearsing and you don't have that performance energy, then you can expect that it's not showing up at the show. So it's just something that, they're high school kids just like everywhere else. It's constant reminders, it's constant, and then they live up to it. They perform and they do it and all that. So.
But I like the idea of using the word energy as part of the conversation. That's something I've sort of been paying attention to this year, because I think kids can understand I need to get my energy up, I need to perform with energy, but just saying perform like you're in the show, perform like people don't get that.
Right, yeah.
Kids don't relate to that as well.
Yeah, well, and I think, it's setting up, because it's kind of like that mindset, like weave it all on the field. I never really understood what that meant, like weave what on the, it's just a saying. And for them, it's like you can say energy, but really energy comes from crispness of motion. Energy comes from when you are so good proficiently that you can actually now enjoy what you're doing. And that's another level that we work on. It's like when you start choreography, it's really just to the counts. And I always tell them, until you can start actually enjoying the music, we're not really performing. So we try to build it to the level that it's not about the counts anymore. It's about fluidly getting into enjoying what you're doing, and then that's when it starts popping. But that doesn't happen without just constant reps and constant, making sure those checkpoints are there and all of that.
So it's the checkpoints, the crispness comes from them hitting those checkpoints.
Yeah. Because I think that I think when you talk about effect, you have effect that's written, and then you have effect that's performed. And obviously the effect, I think, is written into the show, but if the kids aren't performing proficiently, then we're not going to get that performance effect. So it all starts from a proficiency standpoint first, and then it's like, you're enjoying this, hey, like, now open it up,
But that explains, what you just said, that explains to me sort of why I think we all love watching Broken Arrow, because I get that sense that as they're going through that cowboy choreography, that they seem to be having a really good time.
Yeah.
And so I'm having a really good time.
Right, totally. Well, and I think for them this year especially, it's hard for them not to have a good time, because they're from Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what I mean? This is this is their world.
How could you not have a good time
Yeah.
in this guy? And it's such a clever, creative show. I mean, I wish I was in this band. I would love to be pushing one of those fences around, because it just looks like fun.
Absolutely.
But I love that. Like, thank you for giving us that kind of show.
Yeah.
Because I love those kind of shows where they're having fun and I'm having fun watching them having fun, so then I'm having fun.
Right, yeah.
Like, we need more of that.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I can have fun watching something that's serious and esoteric too, but
Sure.
like, I just watched a rehearsal and I was like, man, I wish I knew all that cowboy choreography that those mellows were doing, because that looks really fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that
It's like, I'm gonna go home and, like, in the privacy of my own, where I'm gonna, like, try some of these like hat moves that just, it looked really cool.
Right in front of the mirror.
So when you see the Broken Arrow show, watch for that stuff, and there's that woodwind sequence where they're on the ground and they're like kicking their legs. Like, that is super fun.
It's very cool.
That's Jim?
Jim, yep. All Jim, yep.
Man, Jim.
Absolutely.
It's so great. It's so, like, it's perfect for what the music is saying, and it just looks like I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah.
So you have a good time getting to teach it?
Oh yeah, I mean every year. It's really fun, and it's always different. And this year especially, it's just with this kind of thing. I mean, like, they're actually saying yeehaw on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
There's just so many different things. And again, I think they can relate. to what this show is, because
Okay.
there's a lot of square dancing in Oklahoma now. Like some of the kids even taught me, like, hey Jordan, it's actually, this is how you really do it, y'all. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Because like,
All right, 'cause
I'm not from there, so I'm like getting into this thing. I'm like, oh, you like, this is you guys, like, you got it. So I think it's all part of their DNA and all that.
Well, and there's like a full out hoedown thing that goes. I mean, like,
yeah. And that was a lot of fun too, and it's it's
it
fun.
happens.
It's a fun moment.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, it looks like fun.
Yeah.
So I love that the show is fun, and I love that it's fun because there's such excellence.
Yeah.
So that's your job. So thank you for making that happen.
Well, appreciate it. Thank
What's
you.
your background? Where did you come from? How'd you learn to do this?
Originally from Carmel, Indiana, and marched there in high school, and then
No slouch there.
Yeah.
All right.
And then taught there for a little bit, and then kind of just started teaching and programming, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee now, so I program a bunch and teach around a bunch, and got a couple groups down here. Brownsburg in Indiana is down here, and then obviously
Great.
Broken Arrow and all that stuff. So it just kind of just got started, and it kind of just, like a tumbleweed, as they say, it kind of just rolled on.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Fits in. Well, you're doing great work. Thank you
I
for taking time
appreciate
to talk to
it.
me.
No, thank you. Yeah,
Love it.
Absolutely.
Great job.
Yep.
Find more videos and interviews from the 2019 marching band season at marchingartseducation.com.